I am in my research of water, which there's not a lot out there when you're like, beer and water. They're like, you need a lot. And that's about the end of it. They say you can actually manipulate and adjust the mineral content. Is that...
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, a whole book on water.
Look at that.
Why couldn't I find
There's
this?
lots of
I like
information
the
about water.
cover,
You just have to
too.
know where to look.
Yes. That it's literally a entire book with 280 plus pages on water.
For brewing.
For brewing. For brewing, yes. It's by John Palmer and Colin Kaminsky. We're going to guess that's what
Sure.
his name is.
Sounds good.
If he is upset I mispronounced his name, he can find me on Twitter.
There you go.
Right?
We can share a beer with him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you absolutely can adjust the mineral content of water. Places that have extraordinarily minerally water, a lot of times will actually cut their water, dilute it with either reverse osmosis or deionized water so that you can reduce the mineral content, basically blend it down. A place like Portland where we have very, very low mineral content, we do here add some calcium specifically is something that we're concerned about for our yeast health and performance. So we do add in some calcium salts in order to sort of balance out that sort of the characteristic for our water so that our yeast behaves the way it's supposed to.
And so is that just like a powder or
Yeah.
like...
It's just like salt. They're just different types of salts.
Oh, wow.
And
So-
We use calcium chloride, we use calcium sulfate, and we use calcium carbonate, depending on the type of beer. And what we're primarily interested in here at our brewery is upping our calcium content to the water for the yeast.
So we could drink this instead of milk, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Clearly.
the
clearly.
goza instead of...
See, there it is, that health thing again.
Exactly. I know. In my cereal, no.
Maybe.
I'd try it.
Okay, you may or may not know the answer to this. You were saying that some breweries have to cut their mineral content through different
Sure.
pieces. Is that part of their brewing setup? Like they have something in the brewery? that
Yeah,
does
I mean,
that?
some breweries, it really, as you know, the gamut of water treatment goes anywhere from nothing at all the way up to, I was at the Mills River New Sierra facility this last fall, and they probably have, I'm going to guess it's a $25 million water treatment facility.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It's,
That's crazy.
many tanks and piping, and they're blending down water because they're trying to match their Sierra facility, their
Right.
Chico facility, at Mills River
Consistency.
and
Right,
for consistency.
consistency.
So they have a very in-depth water treatment process and regimen, and they do a lot of treatment to their water to get it just the way they want it, so that it behaves just the way the water in Chico does. So there's a whole range of levels of treatment. But yeah, I mean, if you find that you really need to blend down your water, you'd probably have at least a reverse osmosis unit on site, so that you can create the water that you need.
I'm really glad that, I know this is kind of geeky, but it's so fascinating. It's really exciting.
It is. All of it, all the things that go into it. Science.
I know.
I never know.
Yeah, there's a lot of science in brewing,
Yeah.
It's
surprisingly.
fascinating.
Yeah, I would have done a lot better in science class if there was beer.
Ditto.
They had served beer?
Or if we had have done it in such a hands-on, applicable
Or if we
way.
had Bill
Sure.
Nye as a teacher?
I think that's
Right.
always with any learning. If it's
Yeah.
hands-on to something that you're interested
Right.
in,
Fascinating.
better.
More.
Way
Exactly.
better.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's not so dry.
Unless you want it to be.
Yeah.
And then you can really work with the different pieces of science to make the beer dry.
Yeah, right. Whatever you need to do.
Right. So I have one more question. We're going to jump into the salt water. I guess I have one more round of questions about water.
Okay.
Because there's 17 follow-ups, I'm sure. First off, why/when did you start using seawater? What was the thing that was we should just use seawater?
Well, I think when I decided that we were going to brew a goza, I think it's sort of authentic. To me, the reason that Goza is salty traditionally was due to the actual water that they were using. It wasn't because they were adding salt in. It wasn't sour because they were trying to sour it. It was because they didn't know how to. At that time, it was they didn't understand yeast. Their culture that they were using was infected with lactobacillus and created sour beer. So to me, I said, well, how can we be authentic to what that beer is originally, which is to say it's about what the ingredients are rather than sort of trying to recreate sort of what the conditions are. And here, being on the coast, I said, well, let's go get that seawater and see if it works. I had no idea if it would even work. So we brewed. It seems to work okay. We brewed some pilot batches. I went out and just got a little jug of seawater, and I did some calculations on how much salt I thought I needed to add, and sort of worked from there, worked backwards on our pilot system, and then we ramped it up and started by doing 7 barrels, and now we do 15 barrels at a time. So.
Wow.
So now, do you literally just take some buckets and go to the beach and grab the seawater, or do you go out on the boat? Or
Nope, we go down to the rocky shore and with some kegs and fill them up with seawater, bring them back here, and filter them down a little bit to get most of the solid matter out. Any seaweed that happened to get in there or whatever.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
just put them through one of those colanders?
Yep, literally just that. With a little filter screen in it, and gets any like raw or dirt sand that got picked up or anything like that. I don't really want in my kettle, but that's it. And then so it gets boiled, for over an hour, so it's well purified and sanitized. It's so we go out to Cape Elizabeth where it's sort of out. It's been well flushed out and it's nice, clean seawater.
Wow.
We're actually going to do, so the series that we're doing here is we're going to do water, then hops, then malt, then yeast.
Yep.
And then we're going to end it all with a home brew.
Okay.
And I think we're going to try to add a little seawater to it.
All right.
Do you have any tips on,
use less than you think you need to.
Ah.
Yeah, we don't use very much. Seawater is very salty.
Yeah.
It's very salty.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I did some research to figure out how much salt we were going to be adding, so that I kind of figured out how much salt I thought we needed to add, and then work backwards from there. We're adding between 1 and 1.5% of the total volume of the beer is seawater, and this is a fairly salty characteristic to that beer, so it doesn't take a lot.
Okay. Yeah, and the home brewer that will be sitting with helping us out with this, I was like, so I want to put seawater in it, and he goes, what? It's like, no, really. And he's like, so I don't know what to do with that. And Haley had told us that it was 15 gallons for 15 barrels, so we started doing some math and figuring out approximately. He's like, okay, I feel a little bit better that we're going to be putting a small amount in there. But yeah, I told him and he kind of freaked out on me.
Yeah, people thought I was crazy when I said that's what I was going to do, but
That's exciting.
It's worked out really, really well.
yeah,
Yes.
I
Thank
think
you.
I think it gives the beer more complexity than just using even sea salt. You can get purified sea salt, obviously,
Right.
but we do get whatever is the plankton and everything else, and it's
Plankton. So you cannot call this one vegetarian.
it's definitely not vegan.
no.
No, but it's I do think that sort of gives a greater level of depth to the characteristic rather than just being just salty. Again, going back to what I said originally about Goza, it's really about mineral
Right.
content, and there's a lot of salt in that particular water that they use, but it's more than just salt. It's all of the other minerals and gives sort of a depth to the character.
Definitely.
So, takeaway: Goza is not vegan friendly.
Not this one.
Not this particular one.
Sorry, friends.
I'm not a vegan.
Good.
Good.
Good. You can continue.
Thank goodness.
You can continue enjoying
Still
your
drink
Goza.
Goza.
Right. Any other water-related questions? This has been very informative. Thank
Yes,
you.
I know.
I learned more about water than I actually thought I was going to. I'm really excited. So I think we're going to move on to our third round, and who's going to be taking that one?
I'll take this round. We are going to ask you what your first beer memory is. Just that first. It doesn't have to be
First beer memory. My first beer memory, actually, believe it or not, is of brewing beer. My father, I don't know, I was probably 7 or 8. My father got a homebrew kit and brewed some beer, and I remember pouring the malt extract out of the jug into the pot and the hops. And what I remember actually from that is the aroma of brewing, which I still every time I come in here, whether I'm brewing or whether one of my other brewers is on shift, you come in here and the smell is always amazing. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool. That's a nice memory because you shared it together. Oh, that's very cool. So you grew up brewing, sort of.
Yeah, sort of. I think he only did one batch of beer. But I took some of his stuff with me to California when I moved out to California, which is when I started brewing. So, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it's still his fault, really.
And we thank him.
Clearly, yes.
Yes, we're glad.
We would like to buy him a drink.
Yes.
You said it when you were a kid. We were actually thinking about brewing with my daughter.
Yeah.
She's only 4, but somebody recommended that, and I think it's going to be. She's getting more and more adventurous, but I think it's going to be really hard for her. Somebody told me that I should get her to try biting on a hop.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's cruel.
That is cruel, right?
4-year-old?
I might do that to my 11-year-old. I don't know if I would do that to a 4-year-old.
No,
That's pretty rugged.
It's going to scar her.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she won't like the hoppy beers.
No,
No.
I wouldn't
No.
do that.
Whoever
either.
told you that was just
Say no.
silly.
Yes, they were. But just wondering if you had any experiences.
Yeah, no, I don't have any recollection about that. Actually, though, I mean, Heather and I both really, there's this sort of this disconnect with alcohol because it's an adult thing, but it's a great way to teach science, as we were saying. We've had Heather had some friends up who homeschool their kids, and they have 5 kids, and we took them into the lab here. We took them up. They measured gravities, and there's a lot of applied science that happens. It's actually a great teaching tool. If it wasn't for the sort of the alcohol part of it,
Right.
I would say we should have field trips from schools coming down here because there really is a lot to learn about science and applied science in a brewery. So.
And there are a lot of college courses that happen
Yeah,
around
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
I was a high school math teacher for a while, and I was always like, oh, if I could just. But it's kind of frowned upon.
Yeah, it's not. I understand it. But
Yeah. But it's too bad.
It is.
because
It is too bad
it's
because
so
it is.
interesting.
It is a place that there aren't that many places where people can go and really see a lot of applied science happening in business.
Right.
So it's it would be a pretty cool way for kids to see that.
Too bad non-alcoholic beer wasn't better.
But it's not.
Not an option.
No.
But there's got to be some
That
crazy.
sounds like a dare or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can take it as you want.
Yeah.
There's also not very many gluten-free beers here in Maine. There's one,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
it.
there's not. We haven't gone down that road yet. To make a truly gluten-free beer, my understanding is you have to have separate equipment. You can make gluten-reduced beers in with your regular equipment, and it's something that it's certainly come across. I've had a lot of people ask, but
Yeah.
we just haven't gotten there yet. It's something that I've thought about.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I could make a really great gluten-free beer, but no one else has yet, so I don't know why. I don't know why I should think that